Hello. So hopefully this thing's working. Let me double check here. And hopefully it's a little bit unclear. Um, hmm. I'm not seeing it coming through, which is the weird part here. The hell? Hello, and good morning. Well, actually, not morning at all, it's afternoon. Hopefully, I got this thing right this time. Yeah, I don't really know what just happened there. Basically just had a situation where, for whatever reason, upon launching this thing, OBS kind of crashed and then deleted all of my settings. So, that's not great. Anyway, gonna give it just a sec here, see who might end up seeing here, and making sure it doesn't explode on me again. I don't really know what just happened there. But anyway, so we're going to be doing a bit of a live test here. The idea is just to kind of go through and get feedback and, see what's different and what's changed and all that sort of thing. Bear in mind, OBS does not play terribly nice with this thing, so you may see the occasional stutter. The last few times I tested it seemed fine. Reset everything right before starting this, so hopefully we should be all good to go. But we'll go ahead and start a new file here. I just figured in my last testing run, I knew basically a new file was needed to test out some new stuff anyway, so screw it. We might as well start from scratch, huh? Let's see. Oh, and here I thought I was bad at it. Well, I don't claim to be great at it, but such is life. But yeah. So the thing had basically just outright exploded. I believe that was more of a technical issue, though. But anyway, hopefully your day's going well. Who knows? Who knows what that was all about? But all that aside, is everything coming through at least somewhat decently? Sound and everything else wise? Do let me know. So I guess technically speaking, I probably should have asked for permission in a couple of places where I posted the link to this. Oh well. Let's see. I couldn't figure out I was being wrong. Oh, yeah. Though to be fair, the other thing is a fair assumption. But yeah. So just so you know, as far as loading times are concerned, the very first load into the game takes a hot minute. I believe it's mostly just because it has to, well, load up all the first starting area. But yeah, for some reason, the very first launch to start a new game takes significantly longer than the standard, so to speak. So just something to bear in mind. This isn't something to expect on a regular basis, but it should be just about done. Usually, as soon as it's talking about the castle and the market, things are usually pretty much good to go. Probably should have just started the loading screen before starting it. But hey, live testing and all that, right? So we start off with a sweet waterfall. It's got stuff in it. Graphically speaking, this does come with the option for the kind of line effect you see in a lot of Asian media and all that sort of thing. Personally, it's not my cup of tea, but if you're into that sort of thing, and make it look more anime looking and all that sort of thing, the feature's there. And you just basically go turn it on in the menu. And yeah, looks like everything's definitely going pretty clearly here. So, an interesting note, essentially all of the different settings in this game are just set based off different areas of the world, so you do spend a lot of the game traveling, so there's a whole lot of different locales and all that sort of thing. Now, I believe this might be based off like a fantasy version of sort of France, maybe? I forget. he actually told me, Mr. Nathaniel told me at some point, and here's the thing, I'm awful at remembering things. So, just so you know. But I will say this opening cutscene is a lot smoother than it used to be. There have been some a good amount of updates recently. The most recent ones being like 400, 500 megabytes each. But yeah, he's always adding new areas, all that sort of thing. It's at this point, all text boxes should be where they need to be. And alright. Just want us to move and all that sort of thing. Yeah, this game, by the way, got me a little bit of trouble when it came to playing XCOM 2, because I went back to that thing after playing a bunch of this. And in this, you use Q and R to rotate, and by the way, you can actually zoom in as much as you want. So they're just basically talking about like, oh yeah, you gotta go see your dude, and oh, and you know, she made a fairy grow up, and all that sort of thing. So you basically start off with all these people as your starting party. Bear in mind, there is permadeath in this game. Wait a minute. My mouth? Oh, mouth. I was gonna say mouse. Yeah, so my mouse has a feature where it just automatically turns off after a while, so that's why I wasn't responding. But anyway, so we're gonna go see this guy. Your fairy is randomly generated at the start, by the way. And, yes, hello there, Regdren. So, yes, hopefully getting back to this. You know, we've got a few other projects going, so hopefully, you know, maybe this will become a normal thing again. I hope to at least do this, you know, once or twice a week. But, yeah. With this one in particular, I'm gonna try to keep it going as long as possible. So you start off with the ability to make more than fairy dudes. Okay, let's see what kind we got. So we got a flame touch. So that's one of the attack variants. You can actually change them to a few different kinds. The Mender in particular being really good, essentially being a kind of like a healer that's able to protect themselves very effectively. So they serve well as a good early game healer, and then just basically have the ability to shield themselves up. I don't have any equipment for them aside from this stick, so you know what, screw it. Maybe I will just let them be naked. Let's see, mischievous, searing pain. Okay, well, here's what I think I'm gonna do. I should probably take a step back and explain the mechanics of the game a little bit, shouldn't I? So, each class, as you can see on the right here, has different kinds of... first off, they have a different element they're assigned to. This essentially just determines how well they get along with the rest of their party, as well as how well they scale at certain jobs. So, for example, like, most of your characters will start off like this, but she's already got some extra points for this, so, you know, might as well leave her in it. As far as the, you know, real nitty-gritty of a lot of that stuff, I'm not 100% certain, but I'll just explain it as best I can. But essentially, they level up. They both level up themselves and their class, and I accidentally just stripped her naked. Whoops. By the way, all of your stuff updates on their sprites and all that. So, due to ratings and all that, they actually did remove the full nudity feature, though that's something that people can probably still mess with. But yeah, like if you want people to run around in their undies, you can totally do that. Anyway, it's not a terribly good idea, but it is kind of funny because they all the different NPCs have different dialogue when you do it. So there's that. But yeah, each of the classes levels up as themselves and as the class, essentially meaning they can get 5 levels as each class. Once they do that, they will have got each time they level up, they get a certain amount of cards, and essentially those cards then translate into either like passive, reactionary, or you know, other types of skills they can do. It's like sometimes it's like weapon specialization, sometimes it's just stuff that's automatic. Like probably one of my favorite ones being one that one of the archer classes get, wherein they're able to, if they see an enemy healing, they will automatically take a free shot at them. So that kind of stuff. Anyway, so now the town opens up a little bit. So now we get to explore around. So at the moment, as far as movement speed is concerned, this is kind of your standard thing. If you hit shift, you slow down a little bit. I don't believe there's actually a sprint key. Also, if you hold down multiple buttons, you can make them fidget around, and it's funny. So yeah. first two tasks that they give you, and I apologize for kind of skipping around all that sort of thing. But first two tasks they gave are just to go check on this sweet rock over here. I'm like, oh yeah, we got this rock. I'm gonna check on it. And it's all nifty. So what they're saying is that rock is basically protecting this place from being all teleport invaded. Something which, honestly, you'd think would end up coming up more in Tactics Ogre and things like that. Like, they have the ability to teleport, but almost no one ever uses it except to run away. So, I think, well, aside from, like, Warren using it to save you that one time, it's never really used offensively. Anyway, so the other thing is just to go check up on the market here, which is your kind of first battle tutorial. I think that lady got new clothes since last time I tested this. Yeah, it was kind of dropped off the face of the earth for a little while, admittedly. But such is life. So you're like when the sprites change depending on your gear? Yes, so first off, no in this tutorial. I've done this plenty of times before. Here's the long and short of it. You got lances, which kind of work like the squads from Ogre Battle, except a little bit different, and I'll get to that. I'm actually gonna do my personal favorite starting groups. So, okay, well, as far as how these work, like I said, they're a little bit like Ogre Battle, but not quite, in that instead of being real-time, you move them around in turns, and think of this as kind of like a... well, just think of it as a hexagon, really, because that's basically what it's going to be. And by the way, it would be kind of interesting to see these pillars be a hexagon to represent that. I wonder if that's possible. But, yeah. So each of your units, whoever you put into the unit first, will be the leader, and that will decide how many points they have, how many characters they can have in their party. If they have similar elements, or if they agree with certain party members, they will take less points to actually have in their group. And also, you will occasionally have abilities that will boost movement speed. So if it's, as I understand, an average of all the different moves, so if you have a bunch of really fast units, you can speed up a squad, that kind of thing. And so there we go. So now we have two parties started up here. Let's go ahead and return to the game here. Okay. So you start off with a kind of deployment screen, and personally, I love this kind of stuff. Because, honestly, not enough SRPGs do this, like where they actually let you see the entire map before going off and doing it. Like, I cannot tell you how much it frustrates me when they're like, oh yeah, go prepare for this fight, but what am I preparing for? We're not going to tell you, it's going to be a surprise. Why? Just tell me. It's not like it's going to suddenly, you know, nullify any of the challenge. But yeah, it's something that's, that especially Let Us Cling Together just has a really bad habit of doing. Now, as far as the way the battles work in this, each unit, like each individual character, you can count them as having, well, the entire squad has the ability to move up to 3 tiles, sometimes 4. Each individual unit has 1 action. The reaction abilities do not count as an action, so the way that this works is if they attack, like right here, you'll probably get to see it. Yeah, so the 2 ladies up front there attacked. Oh, right, that's not a healer. Well, crap. There we go, that's a better example. So everyone will take whatever actions they can in whatever situation you make them take them. So in this case... Oh. Ring of Red is so bad about the unseen map thing? Yeah, that thing loves to obscure stuff from what I've seen from your run there. But, okay, so to finish what I was explaining here, because I probably explained it in the worst manner possible, but this basically means if you have one squad attack another one, all melee and ranged units will simply unload on the other guy. If anyone's injured, the healers will do their thing. If anyone's got buffs or debuffs, they will use them. If you're, let's say, at range, like right now I think... Let's see, do you have any ranged options? Yeah, so she's able to go and attack one of them. This means if this group is attacked, these 2 will still be able to fight back. So I'll have these 2 retreat backwards, just to show this off. They're going to end their turn. This thing will attack and then get counterattacked because those 2 haven't taken their turn yet. So that's kind of the strategy of how this all goes. And so everybody gets experience based entirely off of how well rested they are. which is kind of an interesting thing. I haven't really seen that since something like Elder Scrolls or something, but I never see that in SRPGs. So yeah, their experience is entirely scaled on how well rested they are. We'll get into the rest mechanic later, but this guy is gonna roughly explain it a little bit. Yeah, more effective when they have a variety of foods to eat. I don't know what that mechanic is yet. It might not be in the game yet. Bear in mind, there are some things that may not be fully implemented at this point. But yeah, so you always get to see the full map layout. You don't necessarily get to see the enemy layout because you're going in, but at least you do get to know what's going on the map. So it's not like, I'm sure glad I brought all these highly mobile units to a place that's completely enclosed. So anyway, I personally absolutely love it. The idea is that, yeah, as your units get better, you can kind of build them towards specific roles. Like early on, you want to have a couple good commanding units so that they can lead better squads. Then essentially you put all of your experienced units, raising a bunch of rookies up, and then all those rookies can then expand. And the idea is that you build a larger and larger army as the game progresses. And if any unit ends up getting, if their health ever drops, they're just dead. That's just it. Okay, so this guy's still having his talk. It's funny, there's one patch a couple months ago wherein you would show up to the room and he would temporarily be naked because of the way stuff loaded in. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. Alright, so you're done inspecting the tower. Funnily enough, they tell you not to go to that World Gate thing, and you can totally go there. They're like, hey, what are you doing there? And it actually does set up some plot stuff for later, but again, the point of this is primarily to, get feedback on features and do a bit of a live test thing, so I will be skipping through a lot of the plot stuff. So, just so you know. Oh, and I feel like I have to mention this every single time, there will be mods for this, so if you want to remake stuff, there's that in the future. So, like, I already had a few ideas in mind. Oh man, somebody's making noises out there. Alright, so first things first, like he says there, talk to Mr. Dude Guy over here. It's like, here, check out all this sweet gear. Because, yeah, early on, there used to be a thing where you would just have no progression options early on. So now he starts you off with kind of basic, what I would probably best equate to Tier 1 and Tier 2 type equipment. Bear in mind, it's not like a full tier system, so to speak. Stuff kind of comes and goes, and you occasionally get upgrades. But yeah. Every class has its own type of different uniform and all that sort of thing. And unlike something like, say, the latest TO or anything like that, your requirements are actually just, well, to meet the stat requirements of the class, like a reasonable person. Here's hoping someone makes an Ogre Battle mod. Yeah, I'm absolutely planning to do that. So, yeah. As they mentioned in a little tutorial, you can go over here to get a few free units. But after these first freebies, the rest of them cost money, so you kind of want to keep everybody alive. Right, so they're like, oh yeah, we're going to go on adventures, they're totally going to be safe, yep. Totally, they're definitely going to make it. Did they join? Yes, they did. There used to be a little pop-up that came up. I'm assuming that's not there anymore. So you get 8, I think, yeah, it's 8 folks that you can start off with. Oh, this lady got a hat. Didn't used to have a hat. Interesting. Now, bear in mind, even though helmets and stuff like that do update on your sprites, or yeah, even though they update on the sprites, they don't necessarily update on the portraits. Actually, on the portraits in general, there have been mixed reactions on those things. So bear in mind, it's something that he has mentioned as, somewhere down the line, if it's possible, he'd like to have them updated to some degree. I'm actually noticing the portraits, yeah, they look a little bit better when they're farther away like this. These used to take up more of the square, at least last time that I was testing this. So yeah, they look better with this kind of profile to them. So, there we go, good on you. Now, each of these, to explain the different classes, as far as, adventurers, students, whatever. Students are just like your basic healers. Adventurers are just your basic, here's a sword, go hit things kind of class. Now, I believe this might have been patched, but let me go pick up some knives and see if I can have them dual wield. Because I don't think they were supposed to. That may or may not be the case, but let's see if we can get some nice old shanky knives. Hello. Let me get like 3 of them. And if I can put those on everyone, I will. Because these guys, they are unable to actually equip shields, but at least before they were able to equip knives. And yes, they can. So they can dual wield. It's less dual wielding, more like just having an offhand parrying dagger, which, interestingly enough, historically was a thing. At least I think it was around the 17th century, something like that. This just gives them a tiny bit of extra damage. It's nothing mind-blowing. And honestly, I should probably hold off on buying too many of these, but whatever. Interestingly, they can't actually get shields yet, so there's that. Now I'm gonna avoid selling stuff. I'm just gonna give those daggers out to everybody that can have them. Like, hi, I'm gonna take these students of yours and give them knives and make them go fight things in the wilderness. That's not dubious at all. So, now we go ahead and head out. I think he already told us what... Yeah, he did. The only goal, given early on here, is that we need to go fight a guy named Bellamy, who's kind of way down... Whoa, that zoom-out distance has increased. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. So here's how this works. You got your hexes to move around. As I understand, the encounter system might have changed since last time. Ooh, and they popped up behind us. How about that? So I guess there might be an encounter system. I wonder if they can... What is this? A wagon. Okay, so there's some new wagons. Now, as of the last time that I tested this, it wasn't... You wouldn't randomly get attacked. There would just be encounters that you can take or not take. So, so yeah, we'll see how that ends up working out. I don't think he's implemented like a roving AI or anything like that yet, which, you know, obviously that would be something interesting down the road. But for now, it's nice to just have the option. And like I mentioned before, all of their equipment updates. So now they have a little knife in their offhand for most of them anyway. And let's see, we're gonna go ahead and set these guys up here. So you go over here. Let's go make a new team. Actually, let's make you the leader. There we go. That way they've actually got some points to them. You definitely want to make use of your starting ladies because they're the only ones with some reasonable leadership. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give each of them 2 fighters and a healer. See if I can fit that little fairy dealy in somewhere. Let's see, yeah, they're all used up on points. Put you here, and let's probably give her this attacker. Yeah, can't use that one, can't use that one. And then we'll just make one more. Yeah, these guys don't apparently... You know what? It makes sense. They kind of look like they're high schoolers. They're probably pretty socially inept. Probably not terribly good at talking to each other. Honestly, getting more than 2 of them together in a group probably would be near impossible without some sort of leader. Alright, so there we go. Now I'm going to put these squads of 3 over here, and now that type of formation I'm going to have 1 over here, backed up by the 2 doubles. The idea here is that early on it's hard to get your guys to actually function in any sort of cohesive manner. But as you end up getting kind of officers and stuff like that trained up, you end up getting more options in terms of what kind of stuff you can have in a party, you know, how big of groups you can get, and you can have squads of up to 10 as you go on, so a lot of good stuff there. So, alright. Yeah, with 1 healer per group, they should be pretty well solid. There's only 1 that doesn't have anything like that. So there we go. And those little yellow bars, by the way, those are their experience bars, so should be going up pretty reasonably quick here. There we are. Nothing terribly mind-blowing in terms of damage or anything like that yet. But bear in mind that this game is balanced in such a way that you are expected to lose units, so definitely don't expect anyone to last forever. Except for your 3 main sisters there. Oh, Oh crap, there goes my phone. Come back, phone. I need you for things. But alright, so. What should we do in here? Smackify this guy a little bit. Good enough. Proceed with smackage. If you're ever looking to train units in this, by the way, one relatively easy exploit I found is just you basically have a unit go and like you just basically get any buff class, and you just have them just kind of sit in the corner of the map repeatedly buffing. So that I don't know if that's been patched, but as of the most recent attempt here, it definitely was not patched. So we'll see. We'll see. Alright, I could have positioned these guys better, but whatever. So I'm gonna have you go over here, and these guys are just gonna attack from range. I don't really want them taking any extra damage. What happened there? Do the thing! I guess I didn't click right. There we are. Technically speaking, I could have them run forward and attack, but there actually would not be any downside to that. I don't know why I didn't do it. It's fine. They can just attack from range. It's fine, it's fine. All those guys had already taken their moves. But this sets up an interesting thing. It actually was a little bit of a gripe I had with OB back in the day. Back in the day being like a few months ago. But you can have one squad just going in and completely annihilating everything, whereas in this case, if one squad is already acted, you know, they can easily get ganged up on. So even if, for example, one of the units is really low level and they're just not really doing much in terms of damage, they still would have the opportunity, you know, to potentially be overwhelmed simply because there's just a bunch of units getting crits and that sort of thing. So, you know, it's nice. It's nice. I'd say overall, from what I've seen, it seems to work pretty darn well. Obviously, it's not finished, but still, you know, it's a good system. So I see a lot of potential going into this one. Alright, let's switch you over to melee, which, by the way, you can have everybody attack ranged at close range if you want. You know, if you want to save for a counterattack or something. And there are situations where that's completely viable, just so you know. Ah, damn good coffee. So my hope is by the end of this testing session, is to hopefully be past the first plot point, maybe make it back and start heading to the second area. So that's the hope here. First things first, though, is building up this party a little bit. I mean, obviously it's an RPG and all that sort of thing, so you gotta have your progression going, and the progression in this feels fantastic. So, it's, weirdly enough, it's that first level that's surprisingly difficult to get to. So, yeah, she's already almost gotten leveled up, but it's just that first level, and it's an odd duck why that happens. I know that this is even an increased XP rate from what it was before, because in very early versions it got to the point where you'd end up having to go and repeatedly buy units over and over just to make it by. Actually, one hilarious email from the dev there. He's like, "How on earth have you have you gotten this far?" Like, well, lots and lots of cheese. I was like, I assumed it was supposed to be that difficult. Oh man, I think we're about to lose a guy. Nope, he might live. He might live. But yeah, no, there was a time where it was just you would constantly end up losing newbies left and right. So the best strategy was just the death dot, where you would have one ridiculously veteran team to the point where they're like cycling through every class. And, oh, I didn't mention this, but each of the reaction abilities they get, you can think of it as like a very freeform version of FFT, where you're basically able to just keep stacking all these abilities from different classes. So by the way, I'm gonna have these attack, but yeah, that sucks. Yeah, hopefully I'll finish that one off, and he just did. So, if you're wondering why these radial arrows are here, I can set them up like this, so she'll now cover him from getting hit. Now, I don't know if blobs are able to get past that. Certain classes, like for example rogues and stuff like that, are able to sneak past and attack units in the back line, but you don't really have any choice of who they attack. With some exceptions, like the wolf over there has... the wolf over there basically has a thing where he will always attack the strongest unit in the party, because I'm the highest health unit. Oh wait, crap, they are able to get past that. Well, goodbye that guy. Ah, he lived as he died. Blobby, I guess. Alright, let's have blue level up here. Hopefully. Is that enough? Yes, just enough. Okay, and then there's one more group to fight, which, you know, 2 level ups, 1 casualty, I think it's alright. We'll just go ahead and buy some new folks. Truth be told, like, as far as the initial level up, generally speaking, 2-3 casualties were kind of in the acceptable range. It's a harsh world, what can I say? But yeah. Wow. It's just this one blob over here. Like, I'm trying, guys, I'm gonna get there eventually. Whatever, we're gonna let this team handle it. Because I want that dog leveled up. Dogs are ridiculously good. At least in the last few times that I've tested it. Like, dogs, even post-nerf, are just amazing. So the thing is, each of the dog types, which I know of 2, just one of them is relatively weak but always attacks the weakest. One of them is very strong but always attacks the strongest. But yeah, so... Ooh. Okay, definitely not getting as many drops as before, noticing that for sure. Used to be able to get a whole bunch of Ickers and stuff like that and just go sell them for a crap load of money. Alright, so, level ups. So, level up. So here's how this works. You get a level up, you get 3 rolls of 3 cards. So I can unlock, for example, a warrior, forester, or improve her control skill. So I like her as a fighter, so I'm going to go ahead and go warrior on her. Next we have black healing or control. I believe black scales because you always get cards relevant to that class. So we're going to do that. Then what's that last set? We got Grifter, Green, and Martinshed. Bear in mind that this will decrease the opposite element. I probably should have mentioned that. So she'll get better at all green classes, but then go down on bronze. I don't know if that's like a working thing for now, like a working title or something. But it would be good to have some sort of visual aid to actually understand what goes where. Like maybe a little hexagon or whatever up here with the relevant colors. But I like having her as a Grifter, so we'll go ahead and do that. So Grifter is kind of like your early game dirty fighting kind of class. Basically specializing in crits, so I'm going to go ahead and have her do that, and then switch into a heavier class, make her a heavy crit, like a heavily armed crit build. It's good stuff. So she does get downgraded in terms of weaponry, unfortunately, because the basket hilt over here can't actually be used by everybody. But she can still use an offhand dagger. A little bit of a downgrade, but it's fine. Now, let's see, you also leveled up. Alright, what do we get here? So, Warrior, Forester, Control. I'm gonna go Forester. Usually I make her into a Berserker, but whatever. I'm gonna go red. Let's go for something different this time, and green. Why not? I don't know what I actually just did to her, but we'll assume it was something good. Alright, so let's make her into an archer then. Funny, because this still shows up naked, even though it's not naked anymore. Alright, so this is a dodge ring, by the way. Dodge and crit is what she starts with. And let's go Hunter Vest. There we go. As you notice, it ups the green skill, so she ends up being better just in general. Scales up all her stats. It's kind of a handy thing, kind of a little bit like T.O. did it. But anyway, let's go check out this wagon. This is new. So you don't know if you're interested in that sort of thing, but I've played a beginner's guide to shoot 'em ups a while back. That would be interesting. Surprisingly, actually know a fair bit about shmups, despite never playing them. That's weird. Ooh. Okay, we got sticks and carrots. Alrighty then. Everybody got a little bit to eat. So yeah, you may notice... wait. Why can't I move? Can I take a nap? Yeah, so I'm not locked. Now let's take a quick nap and see if that lets us... Well, that's not good. I can't access the escape menu either. Well, that's not... Mash buttons! Alrighty, cool. Right, what was that console command? Splendid. No way, Ace is splendid technology. Hang on. You know what, let me just restart it, because I can just go back to the last autosave. Game go explode. Alright, so. New wagon feature needs a little bit of work. It's the unfortunate death wagon. Don't you just hate when you... I mean, you're just going and you're just trying to get yourself a carrot. Just instantly frozen in time by a death wagon. Ah, so inconvenient. It's rude of people to leave that line around. Alright. Oh, okay, good. It's actually working in full screen now. However that works. Before, it was refusing to do so. Well, certainly not going to complain. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue, and let's see where it left us off. Shmuppy shmuppy shmups. Alright, water. I guess I'm interested in chugging some of you now. By the way, if anyone can confirm, since the last time it crashed, it killed my mic, anybody can see if it's still working? Or is sound still coming through okay? Like I can confirm video, but I can't confirm audio at the moment. Alright, so it looks like we are pre-blob murder, so, yeah. Hey, okay? Alrighty, sounds good. Alright, let's attempt blob shanking without crashing this time. So, don't touch wagons. Understood. Yeah, a little bit of retreading. But again, joys of testing. Alright. Congratulations, Blue, you've been given your own command. Yes, I'm well aware they have names. I'm also well aware that I don't tend to call them by their names. So, say hello to Green, Blue, and Pink. Yep. That is their names. Now, let's put you up. And make those two new squads, which I probably should stick to the old standard, one healer, one fighter. Just because last time, you know, it almost got them kind of killed. Oh, well that guy's a douche. What do you losers have, well? How would you like to get fed to a blob? Apparently you're basically insulting what is the equivalent of your royal family over here, so... that can't be good in ye old stabby times. And that kind of tended to result in a slightly breezier neck. Alright. This was some pretty fantastic positioning. I'm going to have this squad attack, though, because as I mentioned, dogs are amazing. Also, you may notice, now that it's in full screen, it seems to run a bit better. Hell if I know why, but such is life. So definitely not going to complain about that. But I thought it couldn't run in full screen. So if something suddenly explodes, please do tell me. There we go. Fantastic. I'm just looking at these things and I'm just immediately imagining somebody really British calling them flan. Wife and I have been watching this great British baking show lately. It's literally the name of the thing. It's weirdly hilarious. The whole British thing of just like, you gotta make everything sound dirty. Ah, it's great. There's so many cooking things you can make sound dirty. Alright, Mr. Belloptastic, what you gonna do? I got a crit, apparently. Come on, please heal that up. Thank you. As you can see, their early healing is nothing too spectacular. But if you get some of them fairy healers in your party, which by the way, you just basically craft these. So if you find the right parts, you can make fairies, you can make skeletons, you can make dogs. Presumably you just kind of train those dogs or something. But yeah, you just basically craft all of them, so it's good stuff. Like, all your different unit types are pretty much available as soon as you see them. Alright, there we go. I feel like all the sound effects could maybe, you know, sound from a bit farther away, because I like having the map pretty well zoomed out. This is personal taste, though. So, how are you guys liking this whole thing? Are you any kind of wonderings or feedbacks or stuff you want me to test? I'll just let all these guys pile on this group. So, yeah, I was kind of hoping you would finish off this guy. No such luck. Well, doggo, please go ahead and eat this. Thank you. So I got that, and another blob over there. Dang, Skippy. Right there. You're just gonna stay right there. Which, by the way, if you just have them stand still and do their defensive position like this, they will do any buffs or healing or whatever that you need them to do. One thing that is unfortunately mechanically impossible that I was hoping would happen is the option, for example, to have healers heal adjacent units. Or, I guess technically what I was trying to describe is healers going and joining another unit on the fly, which apparently there would have been mechanical issues with. Anyways, so, quick thing on positioning here. What I was mentioning earlier on front and back lines, because none of these guys can attack back lines, if I just have them attack right here, they should all have, I think it's like a 80% chance to hit this guy and then a 20% chance to hit that guy or something like that. So they'll mostly focus on that end of the party. Let's see. Actually, yeah, funnily enough, I was just explaining the flanking bonuses. So they're not, like, hard bonuses, so to speak. Like, you don't get a crit bonus or anything like that, though it was considered. It's just you get a crap load of units fighting later on. But you do basically just focus on that side of the party, so you can kind of focus in on certain enemies. But there is, I believe, a hit chance bonus that he was considering adding, but it was unclear whether it would actually be able to be balanced or not. That's my understanding of it, anyway. But it was at least, hopefully, a hit chance bonus. Because flanking bonuses are one of those things I was definitely asking about early on. I was like, I'm used to the XCOMs, do I get an instant win if I flank them? I was like, well, everybody's flanking all the time, so... Let's see. Had to get water is an interesting method. Show me some bow and arrow action versus some kind of magic artillery. Yes, actually, and, where is she? Where's that fairy? Right here. So yeah, there's all kinds of different mages. Right now I only have the one, but if I have them go over here, they're the ones that are able to do this sort of thing, if I actually select them properly. So like, she's the one going and, well, it dodged, but basically they're able to attack that way. You also have other ones that will like do accuracy debuffs or stuns and that sort of thing, other ones that will buff defense. All your different mage types basically all specialize in one thing, but then if you get their reaction abilities, you can essentially transfer those to somebody else. So like, for example, if you have a healer, they have one called a Healing Burst, which hopefully will show up on one of these students here, wherein they'll be able to do like a crappy version of the heal if somebody's injured, and it has like a set % chance to proc. And then you have the option to go and upgrade that further with, I believe it's either a higher % chance to proc or more potential uses per round. So, it's I personally really love the reaction system, because some of them get super situational, and I asked Nathaniel, he's the guy that was developing this, I've asked him to put more specifically that worked like this one ranger ability, wherein like if they see somebody healing, they just automatically are like, oh my god, murder time, and then like just take a free shot at them. So it's they just have like a weird itchy trigger finger against healers, which is pretty fantastic. Saw that and it, like, reminded me like just something out of XCOM or something, except way more situational. But yeah, I loved it. So yeah, as far as magic artillery goes, we'll see more of it. There's a lot more to actually see here, and pretty much any class can get all the way up to advanced classes or whatever else right off the bat. Like, if you wanted, you could have somebody just focus on promoting to higher classes from the very start of the game. So, like, for example, you have them go Forester, and then Ranger, and then Archer, I think, something like that. And then, like, a Gunner, and you could just pretty much skip everything else and have them just focusing on promoting to different classes, or you could have them learning reaction abilities, or learning passives, learning weapon skills, that kind of thing. So it's interesting that it's kind of random, but also pretty well customizable. The closest thing I can describe it, again, is kind of like an XCOM thing if you've ever played with training roulette. Basically like that is how I'd describe the progression system in this. Where in each time somebody promotes, they're like, okay, here's a pile of skills you can learn. They're like, okay, I'll take these ones. They're like, okay, congratulations, you are now a sniper with double shot or something, you know? It's pretty great. Seriously though, that is like that kind of stuff is my absolute favorite. Where you have classes that just can do completely random things sometimes. Absolutely love randomizer modes. It's good. It's good times. There we go. Now let's have this dog eat this thing. Interestingly enough, the dog's blade skill affects how well they can bite. Just found it kind of funny. Alright, has anyone actually promoted yet? I don't think so. I don't think I actually leveled everybody up this time. It would be nice to see a battle completion drop of experience, by the way. I'm fairly certain the dev is going to be watching this, so yeah. If it would be nice to see, like, as soon as you win a fight, you just get like an extra drop of experience or something. Mukhtar. Actually, I think this is the guy that died last time. Perfect. Like, I came back from the dead by deleting the universe, you're welcome. Okay, let's say marksmanship. Let's make this guy an archer, for example. If we can, anyway. So, that, and, well, didn't end up rolling any classes other than grifters. Go ahead and make him into one of them. Which is basically just going to be a flat upgrade for him. But like grifters, for example, specialize in crits, so they have one special ability that allows them to just get more crits. They have another one that allows them to basically just get like a free kind of counter hit in the middle of a fight. Huh. Okay, for a second I was kind of worried that it did it again. Let me go ahead and save it. There we go, let's save it right here. Okay. Yeah, it turns out some of the older files will potentially have issues, but anyway, it's mostly because stuff doesn't properly update to older files. Alright, I'm gonna just run another fight here so that we can see more of the classes, because I'd like to, for example, show off warlocks and that kind of thing. Specifically, warlocks are, well, warlocks, illusionists, and, what's it? Acolytes, there we go. Those are the ones that I want to try and get in order to show off more things. There we go. And in case you're wondering, all casting and/or what's it, magic-y type stuff has roughly the same range. I believe there are some exceptions with some abilities, but I don't know for absolutely certain. I think it's like a hard 3-tile range. Well, 2 tiles, but then it depends on the layout of the tiles, I should put it that way. Like in this case, they would be able to hit, but yeah. Actually, I guess this still would be 2 tiles. I consider it 3, because then it would be like 1, 2, 3, you know? Even though it's technically 2 tiles worth of distance. It depends on how you want to count it. But, any dang ways. Yeah, I love the music in this, though. Absolutely love it. Some pretty fantastic tracks. Actually, there's one that that comes up later on, and actually in the boss fight that I was mentioning earlier, the Bellamy guy. Everything about that scene reminds me of the windmill scene from FFT. Like from the way that it zooms in, to the relative layout of the place, to the way that the music goes. It just reminded me exactly of the windmill scene. God, I love that scene. That was like the best use of anti-paretic that I've ever seen. Like in that entire game, they used that theme so many times. It was never as good as that first one. But then again, the same thing can be said for TO and the way that they end up using Avillahania. That's that theme that comes in pretty early, like in a lot of the maps where you have lightning and stuff like that. Like do 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 that one. So for example, they ended up doing that one specifically for that map. So like all the beats and everything. Oh crap! I forgot to change them to melee. Well, there we go. They're melee next round anyway. So yeah, like that one, it ends up being perfect because they lined up all of the lightning effects and everything else. Like every time there's the sound of bass in the song, the lightning strikes. It's like that's why the first one makes such a huge impression, and then all the other times are like, well, they're playing that theme again. But same thing goes for the anti-paretic theme in FFT. They have the exact same thing. Where the first time it's used, it's like they have that whole kind of sound coming in, like with all the heavy percussion and everything. And that's like exactly when they focus in on the windmill and then circle around it. It's like, man, that's so well done. If only they had continued doing that. And again, that can kind of be said for, I think, almost every Matsuno game except for Vagrant Story. Just because in that one it managed to keep the absurd amounts of style pretty much all the way through. Whereas a lot of the other ones, they're like, Well, actually no, March of the Black Queen was different. Though that was also kind of his first project. So there's that. But a lot of the stuff that he worked on had a tendency for, like, you know, let's make this one part really good. And then kind of dropping the ball in other areas, but, you know, that's life. It's actually kind of a bummer, because I have a feeling that's why we haven't seen a lot of stuff, you know, like the games that he made and all that. Just because people are afraid of going and doing on his legacy or whatever else. Like, you know, it's not something to be scared of, but to be fair, let's be completely honest here. Yeah, the guy was really, really good at the artistic side. Not so great at the balancing side. Like, it's funny because, probably one of the best comparisons. Compare, like, you take Tactics Ogre, right? Compare, let's say, well, honestly, either the original or the PSP remake. Compare that with Night of Lotus. Sorry, I got distracted by random noise outside. But in both of the ones that he was kind of the main... Granted, he wasn't exactly the whole balancing department, but bear with me on this. Yeah, March of the Black Queen was apparently the first project he worked on, but he didn't work on OB64, as I understand. Alright, so we'll just do H for a hold position, if you're wondering why I didn't click on anything there. But yeah, so okay, so comparing balance-wise, in both of them, they had a really solid early game. Like a bunch of really solid fundamentals for something being really amazing, and in both cases had really good mods that brought out their potential. For example, the original had Chronicle Valeria, which I've seen videos of, and it looks astounding, but it's only in Japanese, so I can't read Nintendo, I'm sorry. But anyway. So aside from that, you had you had Night of Lotus, right? And in that one, it manages to keep its balance all the way through. So for example, with Lucht and things like that, you had an issue where just early on, yeah, it all held together, but then later on, all units either got just amazingly overpowered or underpowered. And it was, hell, in some cases it was entire classes, like the fact that they couldn't make the Terranite work in any capacity in either one of those games. And it's a little bit telling when you go to the wiki and they're like, oh yeah, you know, the best way to make use of this class is to get the entire Ogre set, which is like a 15-hour project, best case scenario. Like, go get all these rare drops and assemble them into a set. Like, literally go into all the hardest parts of the game to make this basic class work. You know, it's a bit iffy. Hang on, I need to take one quick pause here real quick, because my kid is upset and I want to make sure he's alright, so just give me a moment. Okay then, looks like I stand corrected. That was actually apparently the neighbor's kiddo. And hard to tell the difference sound-wise sometimes, because I just hear like unfortunate unhappiness sounds from relatively far away. Anyway, so yeah, exactly. So basically all of those, they tended to break pretty easily. Now, in some cases this was fun, obviously, like, honestly, March of the Black Queen was hilarious, like, with how you could basically get what was essentially a absurdly overpowered mega class from potentially the very first map in the game. Like, if you ended up getting a crown at any point, that was just game over. You've just checkmated the entire game. It was there was nothing challenging anymore. Like, it just basically, I think the best example of that, when I was doing the ferry run, each squad still needed like a regular humanoid person to actually run the thing. And so I had a witch character that had completely dropped off in usefulness, hadn't been used in like 10 maps or whatever else, and was just sitting there. Like, they they were just dead weight. Every time that I tried to bring them out, they just got steamrolled, and that was it. And so, long story short, I found that crown, and I'm like, well, screw it, I guess it's time for their, second chance, because I heard it was really good. I didn't know how good, though, because at that point, they suddenly were tied with the absolute best unit in the party, which was essentially a Lich and 2 Sylphs, who were, for all intents and purposes, about the equivalent of a frickin' fighter jet. It was absurd. Like, they were just coming in and carpet bombing entire areas with repeated AoE abilities. And it was something like, they ended up getting ridiculous stats, plus they gave every single thing in their entire party 2 moves. Like, they suddenly doubled up on every action that they took. And on top of that, managed to give a buff to everything as well, if I recall. Plus had a type of damage that was pretty rare to come by. Like, what the hell? How did that happen? But still, the utter randomness and when you ended up unlocking things made it really fun. Which is why I often, compare this to March of the Black Queen in some ways, except a bit more balanced, because it's kind of a similar idea where stuff is semi-random. Like, you can still... It's still mostly set, but there's still a good bit of randomization in terms of when and what, people progress or get better at. So you might have a unit, and it's like, well, I want this guy to go do this one thing, and then they're like, no, but I'm really good with bows. It's like, dude, I wanted you to be really good at stabbing things. I was like, no, but archery, though, let me be an archer. Like, okay, fine. It gives them a bit of personality, and I like that. It's like just enough personality to be like, this is somebody who actually goes and, somebody who actually has some agency over their existence. It's like, let's see. Do you remember if you do weird and crazy things like make a knight wield a wield a sword in 2 hands or teach a ninja martial arts? Yeah, I know. Who knew? Well, although to be fair, historically, ninjas didn't even need to know martial arts. Like, that's a weird trope that... Okay, it's a funny story behind that trope. Because it originally was... apparently it was like some business guy over in Japan that really sucked at business, but then he just came over to the States like, well, hey guys, do you know all these really cool things about Japan? Well, yeah, they're totally legit. You should totally believe everything I say, and it's amazing. And I think it was called like Land of the Rising Sun or something like that. Can't remember, but apparently Theodore Roosevelt really liked the thing, and so he ends up going and promoting this guy's book around, never really thinking, I guess, to go check whether or not the guy was completely full of crap. So, yeah, that's where we get a lot of the stuff like, ninjas were super sneaky mega assassins all the time, which they were spies. Like, they were just straight up the same spies as everywhere else, and honestly tended to burn more buildings than actually do, friggin' hand-to-hand combat with anybody. But still, though, that's where we ended up getting a lot of the weird tropes, and, whatever works, I guess. Okay, got a really weird level up out of her, which is kind of making me want to switch her to an acolyte, or not an acolyte, but a, what the hell are they called? Not a rookie, it'll come up. It's basically, like, they use magic sword dealies. Anyway, so it was just an interesting thing where a lot of people ended up writing writing those tropes into the 80s and 90s, where a bunch of shows ended up, getting promoted out since, Japan kind of needed a bit of a improvement on the whole PR side of things after, let's just go ahead and call it, some really nefarious stuff they did during World War II. And so yeah, that was, yeah. Anyways. So, that was just a funny story. It was like the weird road that all the tropes took. And now there's been a lot more on the side of, like, kind of overcorrecting to, like, oh no, they did a whole bunch of stuff wrong all the time. Like, no, they were a country, like everybody, absolutely everywhere else on the earth. Oh, dude. Yes. I am training this wolf to be the best leader ever. That's what we're doing. He is now getting... Yeah, his leadership is up at 6, so he is now going to get his own command, because he is on par with all the leader chicks at this point. So we're going to do that. So anyway, what else was I getting at? Oh yeah, so that was the thing with FFT. Obviously, like, it had some really weird stuff that you could potentially do. That's what I'm loving about this. You can potentially mix all of your classes if you end up doing it right. So here's the kind of reaction abilities I was talking about. Like this one, basically she will counterattack setting somebody on fire if she ends up getting attacked. So at this point, I'll just go ahead and give her some dodge, give her that reaction ability, and actually switch her over to a healer, and try to give her that healing burst ability. Then switch her to one of the other magic classes, and we'll go from there. They might be saying, hey, you're leaving her completely naked. Don't worry, that will be addressed. That will be addressed. Oh yeah, so to get back to the previous point there. So as far as the whole ninja thing, basically, like, it was a whole kind of free agent spy kind of thing, wherein the actual skill set that they learned was pretty much just to not be seen and to know how to find things. So oftentimes they were just used as scouts and pathfinders and that kind of thing. There's actually a story during the end of the Sengoku period there, wherein just basically it was just who trusted their own spies the most kind of a thing. So, like, they were going, and a lot of times they were trying to cut each other off all over the place to try and assassinate leaders of this group or another. So, was it Masamune? Was it him? I don't know. It was one of those really famous Japanese names, but he was one of the ones that that basically saved one of the trio for their whole big coming together and making the country unified again thing. Alright, this guy can be an archer now. Anyway, sorry to go on a bit of a tangent there. I was just trying to finally get to that. But yeah, it definitely kind of bugs me when you gotta train classes to do basic stuff that they should be able to do. Actually, that's one of those things that really grated me about well, the original version of the PSP Tactics over there. Is there was so much stuff in that was like, you've learned to look at the weather. Glad we had to clear like 6 dungeons and save multiple people and spend like 12 hours on this, Was it really necessary to do all that? I don't know. Probably not. Yeah, on this guy I'm just kind of picking random stuff and seeing what sticks. Trying to get more classes out here. What's going on, classes? Why can't I get more of you? Alright. Let's go red. Dang, communist. Let's go green. And let's go... warrior, why not? Interesting thing. Sometimes you can give them equipment that they technically probably shouldn't have access to. Like these robes. I don't really know if warriors should be able to use them because they're pretty friggin' OP, at least the last time that I tested them. Making somebody dang near invulnerable. But I suppose we'll just kind of see how that little daily thing goes. And let's see, did my annoying tangent end up scaring off everybody here? Wow, really? No? I'm legitimately surprised. Okay, that always happens. I go off on a tangent, everyone's like, oh my god, this guy's an idiot, bye. Cadet, there we go. That's the one I was thinking of. So, Ooh, and we get Tinker too. She's the one that gets all of the fun classes. And Blades. Alright, I don't know if Blades will help her out, but here's what we do. Go ahead and make her into a cadet. These are pretty fun. So basically these are like long-range laser sword dealies. It seems like they've got physical now. They used to have just... Okay, there's no guide on mousing over this just yet. That'd be kind of handy to have. But I believe they should still have access to their ranged ability. Their whole shtick was just being able to laser sword somebody from far away. Ooh, Acolyte, yes. I'm gonna guess you're also gonna be the one that ends up getting access to Warlock or something? No, so we're gonna do Control. I don't know what that'll do exactly, but whatever. So, go ahead and make her an Acolyte. This will mean that she is a dedicated buff unit and ridiculously amazing. Here we go. Have you this, have you this. And she's also 9 vulnerable with that armor. At least, I should clarify. When I'm saying somebody's 9 vulnerable, it's as of the last time that I tested this. There have been multiple patches since then, so it's very likely that's not the case. But I do want to resort these classes. So, first of all, the dog has now outgrown the master. So, he now has his own team. So, you guys move over here. The dog is taking over command. I love that you can do that. Oh, that's great. That's absolutely beautiful. And also, since he's probably going to be the greatest leader anyone's ever seen... Ah, no, he's got 2 points, but I can't put them in there. Okay, let's put you there. You here. Nope, 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 nope. Nope. Get... Okay, I can actually rotate this. I'm just being an idiot not doing that. So yeah, you've got full 3D control and everything. Let's pop you over here. Why can I not pop you over there? Get to poppin', lady. There we go. So this team should be 9 vulnerable. Oh, do I want to sort people around though? Because I want to... Tell you what. You go here. This one's gonna go over here. Ah, dang. I don't know what I want to do here. Actually, yeah, let's take you out. And put you in. So this is just gonna be a... Oh, they don't get along. Okay, never mind. So yeah, Mr. Archerface is just gonna sit it out for now. Because he needs 3 with most of these leaders. I'm not entirely sure about all those mechanics, but you know, we'll see how that goes. Okay, there we go. 3 solid squads, and that will essentially crunch itself down as soon as we're out of here. So, for example, oh no, we almost accessed the box again. So apparently it's called the box. There was this this situation wherein you would occasionally be able to glitch it out and spawn into like a thing that's like a pedestal in the middle of a void while completely naked and hairless. It was an interesting time. Did I break game? Uh-oh. No. No! I think I broke it again. Alright. Let's try that again. I swear it does not do this often when I'm actually testing it normally, so I don't know what that's all about. That's fine. It's fine. Again, in development. In development. Bear that in mind. And let's relaunch. And comparing with some in-development stuff that I've tested before, it's not bad at all. I swear, with some of them, it's like, oh, hi, I've launched for 5 minutes. It just like immediately crashes upon just the menu opening. Like, no, 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 it's perfect. Don't question my art. No, phone, come back, I need you. Well, crap. Ow, that Friggin' things stuck on my face. Alright. Anyway, so what I was getting at quite a while ago now with TO and doing that whole thing of teaching classes to do really obvious things. So I think TO had the worst of it by trying to pull off this exact same thing that that a lot of MMOs tried, wherein they did the kind of cardinal sin of putting passive